We're now live.
Okay, are we live on the thing?
We're live on everything. Recording on our StreamYard.
Okay, it was a start.
All right. Hello and welcome to Boldly Patriotic, Episode 7, fueled by Frontier Coffee Company. I'm Nate Dressel, owner of Frontier Coffee Company, Green Beret veteran, and purveyor of truth and common sense as I see it. It's been a wild ride since we recorded with Doug the Elephant Slayer a little bit over a week ago. Here's what we can sum up over the past 10 days or so. England is up in arms after 3 young girls were stabbed to death by the son of Muslim immigrants, refugees, or aliens. I'm not really sure how they're classifying it, but England is on fire and ready for civil war. A Hezbollah commander was killed by Israel, and Iran and Hezbollah are vowing revenge. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina has introduced a bill proposing that we engage U.S. troops with Iran because of nuclear weapons, as if GWAT was so long ago that we all forgot, and that we didn't go in there because of weapons of mass destruction. Kamala was made the official Democrat Party nominee without receiving a single primary vote, or the party even hosting a convention. She has also sparked more racial division than we've seen in 60 years, all from her own party, as they've segregated groups and all held their own Kamala conferences via Zoom. Black woman for Kamala, white woman for Kamala, black men for Kamala, and white men for Kamala. Again, all separate and segregated. By the way, white men for Kamala is probably the gayest thing that I have ever seen in my life. Just absolute oozing with beta male energy. And as if Kamala's cackle and cringe comments haven't taken over the conservative airwaves, she's made a VP choice who I can only assume she chose to make her seem like less of a horribly obnoxious person. Welcome, VP candidate Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota. And here's some fun facts about Tim. First, he championed Black Lives Matter back in 2020, destroying and burning his own state to the ground. He's a COVID evangelist who had some of the most extreme and long-lasting lockdown measures in the country, encourages drinking vaccine from a fire hose, and even had a tattletale hotline so people could call and narc on their neighbors when they violated the stay-at-home order. Additionally, he's a self-avowed socialist, stating that some people would just call socialism neighborly. He's additionally a champion for child abuse and gender mutilation, or as he would say, gender-affirming care, to the point where the state will strip children from their parents in an effort to chop off their genitals. He's an affront to biological sciences and has tampon dispensers installed in the boys' bathrooms. And now it appears that he has been fluffing up his military and National Guard service record, claiming that he is a retired command sergeant major, when in fact he was retired as a master sergeant who was only promoted as a sergeant major, and never completed his sergeant major education or actually promoted. Additionally, there are more and more claims coming out that he abandoned his unit in 2005 as soon as he got wind that they were going to Iraq, rapidly ducked out of the deployment, and I'm sure a whole lot of that is going to surface more over the next week or so. All of that's just scratching the surface of what has happened since we recorded that last podcast. It's hard to keep up on all of it, but we'll do our best. And I'm really not sure how to analyze any of it because it just keeps hitting us every single day.
Yeah.
So between trying to sling coffee, run for a state representative seat, taking care of home projects, and being a present husband and father, all I can do is deliver it and do my best to keep a finger on the pulse and make sense of it all. So joining me today, we have a Boldly Patriotic local edition with Kelly Lynam and Caroline Miklosovic. I wrote Kelly on there. 2 boldly patriotic movers and shakers here in East Tennessee, and proof that conservative girls are in fact prettier.
That was so great.
So, I'm going to start each of you with a rapid fire, and then I will let you introduce yourselves after that. So, Kelly, we'll start with you.
Oh dear.
Where'd you grow up?
Connecticut and Florida.
Okay. What's your favorite hobby?
Oh, between these two. My favorite hobby. Oh, good grief. Probably something art related.
Okay. So the rapid fire are the questions that I don't give you.
I guess thanks for that.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, bad drivers.
Welcome to East Tennessee. Will you vote for Kamala because you identify with her as a woman?
Oh, no. I'm just going to say no.
Okay. Who's the most influential person in your life?
It's probably my mom. Mm,
Caroline, you're up.
okay.
Who's the most,
Give her a different question.
maybe. I don't want her to be able to think about him.
Okay.
Who's the most influential person in your life?
Well, I get to say my mom too.
Okay.
There.
Every single male that we've had on the show said their father.
See? Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I can see that.
Chiropractic or vaccination?
Always chiropractic. Always.
What do you think is the single biggest threat facing America today?
People not voting.
What's your favorite food?
Steak.
Nice.
Check that out.
Do you need any more coffee before we begin?
No, I'm good.
Okay, perfect.
So good.
All right,
We should put a coffee cup for you just for look.
that's over there. So Kelly, if you would just give us a quick little introduction and a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. All right. Well, I said I was born in Connecticut, grew up in Florida. I have 4 kids. I was an art teacher for a long time. And
All right.
because we're moms. There were moms. I was to say, yeah.
Caroline, what about you?
I am born and raised from here, local Morristown, but we moved for a while when my husband was in the military, and we've been back for 2.5 years now. Thank you, Jesus, for my little East Tennessee bubble. I have 3 kids, and gosh, what else? I'm a marketing director for a chiropractic office, and pretty much a taxi driver for all 3 of my children.
And most recently, you got saddled with being the co-chair of Young Republicans.
Totally did. I'm the co-chair of Young Republicans. Yes.
All right, so both of you are politically active and loud in our little East Tennessee community.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just kind of open it up for open discussion. But the first thing I want to talk about is what made all of us decide to become politically active. Was there a catalyst event that happened? What was the time frame? And to what extent will you be involved in politics?
Okay.
I guess so. I'll start.
You're gonna start. Okay. First.
So I've always been a conservative. I didn't get involved being politically. I mean, I always voted as well, but I didn't get involved being politically active actually until I moved here to East Tennessee about 4 years ago, and started sniffing around what was going on with local politics, local laws, executive orders, and the local politicians that were enforcing them or not standing up against them. That was kind of my catalyst, moving to East Tennessee, thinking that I was moving to a deep red conservative area that would have freedom abounding, and realizing that despite being red on paper, the establishment politicians would kind of go along to get along and are just as gung-ho to squash freedom as any other leftist state is, so long as they stay in power. At least that's the way I saw it. So that's what sparked my interest. You know, there was the Governor Lee executive order. Our county mayor, Bill Britton, was enforcing the executive order, locking down county buildings, having mask signs on everything. Our school board here was kicking kids out of school if they happened to be sitting in the vicinity of somebody else that tested positive for COVID. And then I also realized that everyone that was sitting in these seats had been there for no less, I think the school board at the time was no less than 27 years. So that's what kind of kickstarted my interest in saying, all right, enough's enough. I either speak up or throw my name in the hat, but can't sit idly by and, being a conservative red area, letting our rights get trampled.
Fair.
So that was my catalyst event.
So mine is similar, but we were in Raleigh, North Carolina, which was very blue, liberal, which I did not realize. We had just moved there. Ryan just got out of the Army, and what happened was COVID hit, and Dawson, my oldest, was going to start kindergarten. And so Ryan and I started just saying, like, okay, we're new here. We need to figure out where she's going to go to school. What does that look like? And then COVID really started ramping up. The mandates started coming down. And so I went because we had enrolled Dawson in kindergarten locally at public school. And
we keep going.
Okay. And so I went to the school board, and all I did, I stood up and I gave a speech about how we should have parental choice. Whether you want to mask your child or not, whether you want to take your kid to school or not, whether you want to vaccinate your child or not. That was it. Just the parents get to choose. And so That was at night. By the next morning, the local news was at my door.
My word.
I had a school board member at my door asking me to run for school board. And locally, it had just spread like wildfire. And so we were just kind of like thrown into the wolves in that. But at the same time, as like I thought it was going to be a positive, the left in Raleigh went bananas. Like I had people from the left making posters and memes and saying all these horrible things about me and plastering them all over my neighborhood for my kids and neighbors to see. The police had to come to my house. We had to go get restraining orders in court. I never imagined.
That seems pretty boring.
That's what you did for Shauna. Just
Well,
and you might have ended up on a domestic terror list. You know.
I mean, who knows? And so all of that happened, and I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe we'll just get some support from like local school board, maybe like local legislators, and it was great. And so at that point, all I knew to do at that time, like I knew Robbie Starbuck was speaking out, and I knew Madison Cawthorn was speaking. I no joke, you guys. I sent one DM to them, and the next school board meeting, they showed up.
In North Carolina.
In North Carolina, legit. I was
Because they're not.
well, so Madison was from North Carolina, but not in our county.
Okay.
He came from a neighboring county. Robbie came from Nashville all the way over just to like get the word out, like make it known, like yes. And it was amazing. Like the turnout, the parents, all of it. But still, they chose to mask the kids. And so at that point, I pulled Dawson from public school. We put her in private Christian school, and his job went remote. And at that point, like in the next 24 hours, his job went remote because of COVID. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, do you think we should go back home?" And I said, call the realtor, put it for sale sign in the yard. We're done with this. And within 2 weeks, we sold our house, got a U-Haul, and we were thinking back to our lovely East Tennessee. But we still have issues here that we have to work on. I mean, it's not as bad as, Raleigh, but so here we are. And I still it's just Jesus just put it on my heart that I have to speak out about these things, and he won't let it just sit and be idle. And so here I am speaking out.
Well,
Onto your coffee.
Yeah.
Warehouse.
Yeah.
We fled California in 2020
Okay.
during the great COVID reshuffle. And, maybe it was because it was kind of at the height of COVID and in 2020. But when we landed here in Morristown, it was less oppressive in the town that we had left in California.
Really? It's wild.
Yeah.
That's
We're
so
in a very
crazy.
red bubble in California.
Sure.
But when I got here and it's like, I can't use Wi-Fi at the public library because of Governor Lee's executive order and our spineless mayor enforcing the executive order.
Crazy.
But yeah, it was very surprising landing in East Tennessee and going,
Wait a minute.
this isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah.
And then, well, we have another story where the leftists came after us pretty hard, and I had to call the cops to our house too. But that's for later on.
All right, Kelly, give it to
I was
us.
thinking of this morning, trying to figure out like, well, what was my catalyst moment? Because I mean, obviously 2020, I feel like it was a catalyst for a lot.
Yeah.
But I was thinking back when I was pregnant with my oldest, and he's 25.
Yeah.
I fought really hard on the vaccine issue. And so to me, that's where it started.
Yes.
Even though that's not necessarily political,
But when you
that's
have
what
kids,
started it.
right?
And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm banned from health establishments here in town. Banned. It's been 25 years and I'm still banned. Like my husband tried to make an appointment recently and they're like, "Oh, we can't see you."
Lynam's.
And so I'm like, this is just crazy town. And I mean,
Feel free to name those health establishments.
there have been doctors at these ones that have seen us, through the back door. So that we don't have to go through the paperwork. But I think that's what started it for me, so by the time 2020 came, man, I was already
You were
very
like, we're
passionate
done.
about vaccine situation, all of it. Healthcare, like my kids have none of that. We had to fight with schools, like you have to turn in paperwork.
Yeah.
And we are like the ones that led it. And you're correct.
Yeah.
Because no one was doing that and no one knew how to handle it.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that started it. I already was vocal for so long on that. That's when 2020 hit. I wasn't letting that slide.
Well,
That was like, my kids have had zero.
Yeah.
They're healthy. They are.
When we-
we are not doing
yeah,
this.
you're decades in the battle with kids
Yeah.
having 1,000.
Exactly. And then my youngest was in public school here, and they wouldn't. He has a heart condition, and medically he can't wear a mask. And they wouldn't let him come back to school without wearing a mask, even though I went to the.
Yeah.
I went to the.
Had them sign.
Yeah. I was like, I will sign. I'll take liability.
Yeah.
But the doctors wouldn't sign because at that time it was the liability. They were like, we can't. We're telling you can't do this, but we won't.
Crazy.
So I had to go on. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So for 3 years he had to be homeschooled, which I mean it's fine, but also not fair.
Right.
And
He had to be.
as an AP, all that stuff, and
Yeah.
he didn't get to finish with all his friends at the elementary school because they were.
Jen and I fired three providers here when she was pregnant with William, all because of masks and vaccines.
Yeah.
I think it's Morristown Women's, UT, and started at Morristown Women's, then UT, and we interviewed one other, but
We do have a good pediatrician in Knoxville that we went to, and he was wonderful.
we ended up at Sonoma North in Powell.
Okay.
And first time that we walked in there's the greeter. See his face, he's happy.
Yeah, that's
Tells us
awesome.
where to go. We went into the women's place here in UT Knoxville, or UT Health midwives, and all of them are yelling at me to put a mask on. Like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't trust you as a medical provider anymore. I'm not going to pay for this garbage service. Like, not doing it.
Yeah. We were kicked out of 2 pediatrician offices in Raleigh.
Good.
Yeah. I was like, man, this is like getting to be like a badge of honor. Okay.
Yep.
Handing my kids
Exactly.
Yep.
which really wasn't anything anyways because they don't have vaccines. So
Mine, since I have a child with health things, we have quite a bit, but then,
Yeah.
So now we just don't have those. And on the political side, I looked back through my Facebook for like 12 years. I gripe about the fact that there's never information about who's.
Yeah.
And the very first time
Yeah.
I did it, I griped about it. Like, if you're running for office, you all have grandkids. I don't care how old you are. You have grandkids that can help you with social media.
Yeah.
And Gary Chesney knocked on my front door. And he came and he's like, I want to tell you about myself since, I saw your post about no social media. So we're going to talk. I was horrified. I was like, okay.
At least he did it personally, as opposed to what happens with me is they have some other lackey who's not currently in office
Yeah.
reach out on their behalf.
Nope. I had to give props to him. He showed up at my door.
And that's good. That's what you want. That's,
And he came in and
If it choose to go.
I did.
Yeah.
And I think after that he had social media. Like he had something.
you have to.
So that's how we all kind of got involved. Kelly, you're the longest in the game. To what extent?
I'm the old one.
No, you're the mentor. So to what extent will all of us get involved politically, to influence change, to be changed, to make sure that elected officials are going to, exercise our will? I know, so to anyone who is watching this, the 3 of us got together and we started the Lakeway Area Young Republicans Federation, which is a conservative organization, not affiliated with the Republican Party, but has the mission statement of helping to elect young Republicans, encourage younger conservatives to get out to the polls, and to further conservative values. So we started a chapter here locally. So all of us are at least involved that much. As I mentioned,
I'm just a mentor.
She's a mentor. I'm running for office. I'm running for office. So I'm willing to throw my name in the hat. I'm willing to be loud. I'm willing to start organizations that will help further our conservative goals. Again, the girls are very, very vested in that with me. But what else are you willing to do? Or is that kind of, you know what, we're momming, we're familying, and I'm happy to speak out and be part of an organization? What?
It's funny because I've always joked I was going to run for Esco Jargon Shop. I was going to be sheriff. I always joked about this, but I don't know if I would run. I think right now my focus is on getting younger people to vote.
Yeah.
And that's like, I get so much thrill when someone's like, you convinced me to, register to vote.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would never run for something locally, but I think I need to learn more about what every role does. Oh, I'm not sure they know what every role does, to be honest.
No, they don't know what.
So, yeah, maybe it is okay, but I don't know. I mean, I think at this point it's mostly focused on getting youngers to vote, helping you win, that kind of thing.
I think that, for sure, it's been on my heart. I will at some point run, but I do know, like, my space and, like, the majority of my time has to be with my kids. And so I think that is for sure, like, especially with women, like my age, I know they feel that same, like, my kids are the most important right now, but that's why I do what I can, whether that's just like speaking out, on social or when we go to events and, getting involved with young Republicans and trying to like grow that. And for sure, getting out to vote and trying to get other people out to vote. And so I think that just eventually will organically grow into something else.
Yeah, that's probably where I should be since my kids are now growing.
Good though.
Well, I think it's catch-22 for people our age wanting to be involved and wanting to run and be part of the solution because we have jobs, we have businesses, we have
It
families,
explains
kids.
so many retired people.
It
For sure.
explains why everyone's
It does.
retired. So like people that
Yeah.
actually have time to hang out at
Yeah.
social.
And I think so much is a give and take with that I struggle with, because number one, I do feel like younger people should want to get out and run and just get more involved, like whatever is on their heart to do. I feel that from the establishment or just the older generation, whether they already hold office or are in some sort of realm of Republican club, whatever. Number one, I think it's a give and take. Do they feel like we have to continue to hold these positions because young people aren't stepping up? I think that to an extent, that's what it is. But then also the give of that is there's no encouragement and help and aid from that group and that age group to like welcome people, want to get people involved and like, hey, let me mentor you, let me help you, let me usher you into this so we can gracefully slide out. Right.
So if they want to stay, just listening to the needs and the wants of that younger generation so that they can represent them well would even.
Yeah. And so I think that's the struggle that I have with
Democrats do it really well. I mean, they have 90-year-olds in office that have very active social media.
Yeah, it's true.
And we have no.
We're always playing catch up.
Yeah.
Do you think we're always playing catch up? And I'm really hoping that because the GOP president is gone from yesteryear, and we do have like a Laura Trump, and you've got Scott Pressler and those like younger people coming in and trying to get on the same wavelength, or better, but hopefully better.
I think Scott Pressler is doing an amazing job.
He's killing it.
He is.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, he's crushing the voter registration. He really is. But then, I mean, you tell me where you want to go with this, but you've got Kamala and her team sending out like press releases trying to get influencers and saying we will pay influencers $1,500 per post, per TikTok video. And here they're literally handing you the marketing sheet. And why wouldn't kids do this? We want to push out anti-Trump rhetoric and videos and all of the things. $1,500 a pop. Here is everything you need to do it. Yeah.
And those kids aren't going to lose. They're going to lose followers because the followers don't care.
And oh my God, as an 18-year-old, I'd have been like, $1,500. Done.
Hey, we're all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I'd take the $1,500 right now. So, Kamala, if you're listening, feel free to have your team send me an email, and we'll do a plug for you on episode 8 of Bold Patriotic.
That's why they're winning the social media game is because they're pushing.
They're winning the social media game. I think one of the things that we all, I think, see, but have to encourage our kids and younger people to be mindful of, is that it's not real.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
when they show a picture of Kamala's rally with 30,000 people there, what they're not saying is, oh, we had Bon Iver play for free
Correct.
beforehand.
It was
Like they
really
leave,
a concert.
right? They leave all of that off.
Jumped up and
Yeah.
what?
Oh, we put on a free concert, got these people trapped in
Yeah.
a stadium, and
Yeah.
now we had to listen to this.
No. I agree.
So
Where Trump can bring that crowd.
Just by coming.
Just
Yeah.
coming.
so
Yeah. And I think the other issue also is, especially now, politics has not been talked about for so long in the realm of like, we can still agree to disagree. We can all share our opinions no matter what they are. And so when you go for so long without
Nobody
talking
knows
about
how.
it, nobody knows how. It's very uncomfortable. Things get misconstrued.
And everything is online, so it comes across wrong. It's translated wrong.
Yeah. And so then
oh no, they're reading my posts exactly. I will correct on
Yes, it can be mean and not have a face to it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever, that kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yes. I mean, when that all happened in COVID and I spoke at the school board, my son had just had a traumatic accident at the same time. And I was getting messages like, your son should have been killed. You don't deserve to have children. Like, he needs to be taken. We're going to call DCS. Like, the amount of those,
Yeah.
man, I was just mind blown.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
You know that. You.
I mean,
Sure,
it
too.
it makes sense coming from the abortionist crowd.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah, that's true.
they. So this is part of the problem with, like you're saying, there's no dialogue between
Yeah.
different viewpoints. Our people at the head of the tables have become so extreme that
Yeah.
all of us sitting down here we're looking at Kamala and Tim Walz, who are just like radical, avowed socialist, baby killing
Yeah.
leftists.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at Trump, who I agree with most of the time, but he's created a cult of personality. So we have just
Right.
this massive divergence. And I don't know, I'm equally guilty of it. Like, I don't know where that middle ground is anymore when even regular people like us are coming into it from these two pillars of, I stand with this,
Yeah.
demonic antichrist
Uh-huh.
agenda, or I stand with MAGA.
Because,
And so many don't want it to be on
Right.
either side.
and that's it, because most people just want to be left alone.
Left alone.
Like, that was us,
Which-
right? Like,
COVID was the great
yeah.
awakening, and
Yeah.
at the same time,
Who-
the great divide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I have great friends from the military who are Democrats. We get along really well, and we still talk all the time because we went through the service and shared experience together, and we know that we're not insane.
Exactly.
But when you
Well,
just
you probably line up a little bit more than far.
debatable.
And my dad always said, like, common sense is not, I promise you, common sense is not so common. And I thought, it doesn't make any sense. And then when COVID hit,
It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, am I seeing this differently? Like, this is so
Yeah.
this is so common sense. What is happening?
COVID was the great divider.
yeah. And it's the same. Well, here, you go down your list. You go down your list.
It's an open flow. I've got current events as one of our things. We've got national, state, and local. We can talk about that.
Are we going to touch on local?
We can touch on local.
Let's touch on local
Well,
elections.
I think so.
You should share the voter
Should
numbers.
share some numbers.
I don't have them yet
Oh.
because I was delivering wholesale orders to Knoxville yesterday. Because again, I'm not retired. I actually have to show up to work. I have to do all the stuff.
Because I was like, I want to get this, and I have
Well,
to.
just the article in general. I mean,
So
the turnout
so
overall.
I'll go talk to Jeff Gardner after we record this. But so Tennessee just finished its August primaries, which was state level primaries and county general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously March was the presidential primaries.
Correct.
November is the general election. So this August primary that focused on local elections and state elections had a record low voter turnout.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was like of registered.
Maybe.
Is that what was in the article?
Something. It was
There's
something really like minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was shocked. Not shocked, but shocked.
Yeah.
saddened.
Saddened.
Uh,
Well,
objectively, most of the time, what has the biggest impact on all of our lives is our local offices, which is our city, our county, and our state offices. They are the ones that have a direct impact on our everyday life.
Yeah.
Barring voting about socialists into the White House. But like historically, our local offices have had the biggest impact on our everyday life, our city, our county, our state taxes, our regulations on running businesses. And from what we just saw is as much as everyone wants to say that, oh, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal, I'm politically active, where the heck were they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And when you ask people, they're like, "Oh, I didn't make it to vote." Well, then you don't.
why you had 12 days of early voting.
12
days.
it took me less than 5 minutes.
Same.
But this is the other side to that coin is Democrats are loving this. Because don't think for 1 second that even our local Hamlin County Democratic Party can throw a name in the House, put it on the ballot. And I'm sorry, but I could go knock on doors for 5 days and get 200 people to come out and vote.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
Well,
And they're going to start getting on our county commission
Yep.
and on our school board. And then
And they
Our
just
lovely
get
bubble.
one big name, and that big
That's
name's
it.
going to be Taylor Swift. She's going to get up there and be like, "Everyone go vote." And they'll be
because Beyonce also done it, right? That happened.
they offered incentives for you to
Yeah.
get a shot. They're going to offer you incentives to go vote for their person.
Correct.
As good as a free hamburger or a free Krispy Kreme.
Donut.
Well, Tim Walz did the $200 if you get
Oh, yeah.
his vote.
If you get your hits.
Or giving
When you cross over the border, they give you the papers.
Yeah.
We're going to let you stay here,
Yeah.
but you have to vote for this.
So
We have
Our-
people out to vote.
we do. And that's, again, all of us are part of the Young Republicans Federation, which is one of the number one goals of that organization. Record low turnout for all of Tennessee's August primary election.
Yeah.
What we did have some victories in that we got rid of, I think, 7 or 8 long-term rhinos, and that was as rated by Tennessee Stands and the Tennessee Conservative.
Yeah.
Both are very well-informed news sources for Tennessee politics.
And locally, school board.
Locally.
That was is Darling Smith is on, which is
An
huge.
example of how signs versus social media.
Correct. That's so true.
Perfect.
I assume Rob Workman got the seat too, since he didn't have any running
Yeah.
mates.
And we had another Bradley Harville
Yes.
is on, and he's a solid conservative for the school board, which is huge.
Which is phenomenal. Because
Yeah.
again,
Needed.
that was one of my political catalysts, looking at our local school board and realizing that we have, people that had literally been on it for over 40 years.
I was
Yes.
here in school are still on.
Over 40 years.
So-
At the time when I got involved, the most junior member of the Hamlin County School Board was, I believe, 27 years on the board.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 23. It was
And they're just not relevant with them.
Right.
What's going on in our school system?
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Those are huge victories.
Agreed.
Another one that I've actually caught flack on cheering for, Frank Nicely, who has been in some sort of political office since 1988, I believe.
I was born that year.
So Frank Nicely, he was a state senator, not from our district, actually, one district over.
Yeah.
But he's been involved in political office since 1988. He was just ousted on the primary by Jesse Seals, who is considerably younger. He's a little bit older than us, but considerably younger than Frank, and he is a brand new politician. So this
Love
is,
him.
his first go for office, he ousted a long-term state senator and
Huge.
took that seat.
Huge.
So the reason I've been blasted for it is, admittedly, Jesse Seals has taken on PAC money and outside of district and outside of state money. But granted, all of the sitting senators and
Are
representatives
still are
also
doing
do.
the same.
So
What
and-
did they say? I mean, didn't you look at some
I did.
local
I did.
elections and people running and where the money's coming from?
Yeah. So anyway, so Frank Nicely is out.
Yeah.
And I don't tout that as a victory because, like, I don't like Frank Nicely. I've looked at his voting record, and actually his voting record is really, really solid.
Yeah.
And Frank has a record of bucking the establishment, bucking the system, and he goes after Governor Lee when Governor Lee needs to get after.
I like it.
But he's been in there for going on 4 decades, and it's just time. If somebody is not primarying an incumbent every single term,
and they should be mentoring someone to take their course quickly so that they can go on and on.
So I think we need to watch Jesse Seals really quickly, but I'm praying that he does a great job, and if he sticks to the values that he has, touted,
Fared and
we're in good hands. Possibly a lot of the slack that I'm getting is just because everyone's buddies are friends.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
Speaking of another guy who everyone seems to be buddies with is Rick Eldridge, who is our district state representative. Now, Rick Eldridge is also, he's the incumbent who I am running against. The Republican Party booted me off of the ballot. That's a whole long story. We'll do an episode on it. In the meantime, if you want to visit votenatedressel.com, all of the documents are published there. But here's what I learned about my incumbent the other day. So he got into the state rep seat, I believe, 2018. So I pulled his public campaign finance records from 19, 21, and 23. They do 2-year intervals based on, running cycles. So 2019, it was 61% of his campaign finance was generated from out of district. So 39% were people in our district saying, yay, let's vote for Rick. This is great. 2021, 66% of his campaign finance was from out of district.
Okay.
And I believe 12% was from out of state. So that's second term in Congress.
Yeah.
Come third term, 2023.
This is crazy.
It's wild. So we have 96% of his campaign finance came from out of district. And I believe it was 17 or 18% is from out of state.
It's crazy.
Now, when I looked year to year at what he was reporting for campaign finance, the numbers weren't really going up that much. Like, let's say he was generating $30,000 each cycle. So we have, again, I don't remember the exact number, but call it 30,000. So 61% of 30,000. I'm sorry, 39% of that 30,000 was from in district when he was the first cycle. 34% was from in district second cycle. Only 4% of that 30,000 in his third cycle came from voters in this district who wanted him.
So 40%, 10% is 3,000.
Yeah.
Right.
$1,000.
So where he's raking in the same amount of money, but it's not coming from his constituents.
Which essentially means he's being bought by someone.
Where do the values lie? What's owed to who?
And where's that money going?
I mean, it's going to advertising. I can see where it's being spent as well.
Yeah.
His ad spend for 1 month is more than my campaign has ever raised.
Oh, it's so crazy. Local is being influenced that much by not only out of district, but out of state money coming in.
Yeah, so why? I mean, we're a rural podunk area in East Tennessee. Why is there so much out of district money focused on what our rural representative?
I'll tell you one reason is because the Democrat Party, and not just them, but you've got big money. You're talking George Soros money, all of these people, they are targeting the red state. That is the goal. The goal is to block or flip the red state to blue. And that's how they're doing it, is by targeting these local elections. And it starts from the inside out.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to go target like a governor position right away.
Why would they? They already have Bill Lee.
100%. There's that. 100%.
You are. And that's what's going to affect us and my lovely bubble, as I call it.
Yeah. But I think so many people look at it as, we're a red state. It's never going to flip here in Tennessee.
Well,
that's why they don't vote.
Look at enough.
I mean, that is almost verbatim what the Republican Party told me in 2020 when I moved here. They said, hey, what are you guys doing to keep this place conservative? Well, it's always been red, so it'll always be red. And I was just dumbfounded. Like,
I mean,
am I talking to like,
they are getting bigger, but everyone's moving there. They are a bit bigger. They're going to get.
Well, and I think you were at the party meeting where I introduced the Knoxville City Council.
Yeah.
It's like, these are avowed deep blue activists, not
and
like they are not just blue voters. These are activists.
Yeah.
And that's who makes up the entire Knoxville City Council. It's
Yeah.
wild. And guess what?
We're 45 minutes from
Of the 9 people or so, anyways, however many are on the city council, I think all but one were born here in East Tennessee. So this trope of you ain't from here, I don't really care.
Yeah.
This is who is from here.
And then it's all turned. That's it.
It drives me insane. So
That was such a fun meeting.
that was wild. So yeah, local elections just happened.
Yeah.
Abysmal turnout. I'm actually afraid for the November elections in Tennessee, just based on this August turnout, because I feel like there's too many people that have that mentality of, well, Tennessee's conservative, so why do I need to?
They're so tired. I think the politics has drained them down to where they're just like, I just can't.
I'm there too.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. But how do you get them to now
Right.
actually still show up and vote, even though that's how they feel? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Especially Republicans, because I think that most would think that, oh, Trump's got this. Those people
Well,
are
and
crazy.
again, that's the media, and that's that's part of their point that they're driving home is like either Trump's got it, he's gonna win by a landslide, don't worry. And so now all of these people are like, oh, I need to go vote because which is
and they're not paying attention to what they're doing. The Dems are doing on the other side with infiltrating our
Because
influencers and
because you went from 3 weeks ago. Kamala is the worst VP, has never done anything.
they're out.
Yeah. They didn't even have her in the spotlight because they're like, no, we don't need people to see.
Don't let her talk.
Yeah. And now, here we are, back forward 3 weeks. She is the savior for the Democratic Party. We love her. You've got celebrities and everybody endorsing her.
All because she's a
She couldn't garner 1% of the primary vote.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she was, barring Cory Booker, she was the worst primary candidate on the stage.
Mm-hmm. And so this is, again, it is all media driven, that they are trying to not talk about policy, but push identity politics. Oh, vote for her because she's Black. Vote for her because she's a woman. Vote for, all of these different reasons.
and because they've built their platform on women's reproductive rights.
Yes. And so that's the issue is nobody is, what did we say last week? Policy over biology. Policy over biology. And I feel like that's what we really have to keep driving to these people.
Yeah.
Is I am not voting for Trump. You can't be voting for Kamala. I have to look at what they back.
Yeah. You have to vote on
because
policy.
that is what actually matters.
Making, I don't know, an objective choice.
Well, look at it. I mean, down the line, the Democratic Party wants to say the right's going to take our rights away. The Republicans want to take your reproductive rights away. Like
Main Street.
oh,
There's a big sign on Main Street, and it says, "Vote for democracy, not a dictatorship." Wait, I almost turned around to see what business that was in front of.
Their business must be doing even worse than mine. So
Big sign.
I mean, that's people paying attention to what the Dems are doing. I think it's more important that we have our conservative constituents, we have our base. I think that especially locally, they need to be paying attention to what our local politicians and elected officials are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the examples that I'll bring up is, I already talked about where our representatives' money is coming from, and it's all public information. But when you think about where politicians are taking their money from and what influence that is bringing into our state, is really dangerous. So Governor Lee, Amazon's coming in here. I mean, they're plopping stations everywhere. It's a known blue company. He's lobbying for tech companies to come into all around Nashville.
He's had 3 sit-downs with Bill Gates.
Yep.
Well, isn't Chattanooga already a smart city?
It's already.
Yeah, they're pushing for the 15-minute cities.
They've got the best.
But so like Utah, for example, Utah has always been. I mean, the Mormons are super conservative.
Right.
Utah's always been a red state. It's always been conservative, Mormon. Influences everything that's going on there. Well, they had Governor Herbert and currently Governor Spencer Cox they had this huge initiative to bring tech into Utah. So turning into the Silicon Slope, so they have Oracle, Adobe, Amazon. I think the big Facebook office came out there. But if you look at, again, a state that has historically been like deep red as Tennessee, but you look at the whole I-15 corridor going all the way down through Utah, and you look at the voting of it, it is blue, 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 blue. Every single place where they took on this corporate money, this tech money, and we brought Oracle, we brought Amazon, we brought whoever into our state and generated this tax revenue, but at what cost?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's it.
If you have espoused Republican governors that are actively bringing liberal ideology in exchange for tax dollars for their 4 to 6 year term, like that ideology is not leaving at the end of your term. It's there.
Yeah.
They're
They compromised it once they said yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Bill Lee is doing that proactively in Tennessee.
I remember when he was up for election the very first time. I was super anti him, and he's kind of a local because he's from Jeff County. But everyone was like, he's a local and all that. And I had gone through his record, and he had donated money from his company to a company that supported and helped with abortions.
Right.
And I questioned that, and his response was, well, they asked for it, and they do other good things. And I'm like, well, then you're going to compromise as government. Because you were willing to compromise for $4,500.
Well, and look,
Exactly.
we've taken the climate change bill money.
Yep.
I mean, so that is going to be huge detriment to our state.
But every now and then, Bill Lee comes out with a state day of prayer, and all the newcomers are like, "Whoa, Newsom! Governor Newsom would never do that."
Yeah.
But I think it's more important. We know what the Democrats are going to do. We know that they're going to kill babies. We know that they're going to rig the elections. We know that they're going to push the Green New Deal. They're going to do 1.5 million things that we don't love. We already know that.
Yeah.
But if we don't look at what our side is doing, what our elected representatives are doing, like we are just giving away the ghost every single day when we don't say, hey, stop taking that money. Like, why don't we run on principle and we'll vote for you on that?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think that's incredibly dangerous.
It's so scary. I mean, truly, because I think the issue too is, what are we going to leave for our kids?
Yeah.
Right.
Terrifies me. Like, so that to me is such a huge thought, is the future.
That's literally the last thing I wrote.
And I'm like, why are we not voting? Why
are we not talking to our kids about politics and getting their worldview set so that because they're going to be the ones facing off.
Yeah.
And they've got to be solid.
Yeah.
They'll never survive.
So we've got 3 people around this table who are talking to the kids about this. Ad nauseum. My kid gets sick of listening to it.
Yes.
It's still.
So 2 are adults and they're not allowed to get Christmas gifts if they haven't voted.
Put this in comparison to if you go to party meetings, whether it's local, state, whatever. We've got all these, 70 to 90-year-olds. Where are their kids?
Right.
Where are their kids?
Yeah. It's very true.
And I know that most of them locally, their kids haven't left. They're still here.
They're still here.
So where's their involvement?
Yeah.
Like if they want to be ruffled, if they want to be upset, if they don't like what any of us are doing, whatever. But what have you done to regenerate? Like, where's your recruitment? Where's your retention?
That's so true. Yeah, that's it. And I think that's where, again, the left is capitalizing on it, and we're missing the bug. Like, why are we not in our local schools sharing our opinion, but just making it known? Let's get out to vote. This is why it matters. Yes. Like, why are we not setting up voter registration tables at the high schools? I mean, I could sit here and name 1,000,001 things that has not been done for so long. And now you look and go to these meetings and wonder why
Everyone's over the age of 10.
the youngest by
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. And so that's where the disconnect is also. It is, you've got to get people into these parties and these clubs and all of the places to be able to do.
So the first meeting that Kelly showed up to with us was you, your husband, me and my wife, Corbin, my neighbor. He was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 of us walked in there. I'd been there before, but
We walked in before you did,
It went over. Just,
and no one said a
you
word.
hadn't said anything. It went over like a fart in
We
church.
were like, we don't know who these people are. And I'm like, we're standing 4 feet from
It was a fart in church. So the fact that they weren't like, oh my goodness, new people.
Yeah.
I knew
Yes.
people there. It wasn't like I was a stranger.
No.
Like people in the town didn't know who I was.
And I guarantee that I could have the chairperson of the Hamblin County Young Democrats Federation show up and talk at one of our meetings for just an open discussion sooner than I could have one of the establishment Republicans show up.
Well, and I'll tell you this, you don't think the Democrat Party isn't working overtime?
Oh, they're working so hard.
Their stuff.
At the landing and filled an entire room. And half those people in that room were young.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen because people won't go and vote. People won't get involved. To get involved as much as we are or even beyond.
We just want you to vote.
Yes.
Just
Like-
vote and have an opinion.
Well, luckily we do have a couple bright stars. We've got Corbin, we've got his buddies that he goes to school with who are now actually mostly coming into age to vote. So they're going to be way more involved. We have a couple bright shining spots, but it's really tough for those kids.
But we need to get some in the 20 range,
We
the
do.
20 to 30 range. That's who we need to hit. The ones with young kids that have a stake in the game.
Mm-hmm. And I think just for parents, having those open discussions with your kids, especially once they hit like middle school and high school, like being able to stand strong in their morals and values and faith and like what that means.
Yeah.
And it's okay to speak out on those, and even if you get opposition or people disagreeing, like it's okay.
Right.
Like I think people just run from conflict. Like they don't even want to speak the word conflict in any form or fashion. And I think that's why now you either have the crazy left that just screams obscenities, and then on the right side you just like run from it. Like because they don't
a
even.
lot of people that just pay zero attention, so they're not seeing any of it.
Yeah.
So and they're still stuck on Trump's annoying. So I just want whatever is the opposite of that, and they're not even looking at anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, our feeds are filled with
I mean,
but
he's annoying, but he's also hilarious.
they have no problem with it. I'm all for the mean tweet.
I bet a lot of people would take the mean tweets and cheap gas.
I think you have to be mean to be president. I don't
Listen, I read what was that quote the other day? It said, "We're not voting for a Valentine.
Yeah.
I'm voting for somebody to be my bestie or like,
I'm sad.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so going to war.
Yeah,
We are ready for a World War III party.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not ready.
no, yeah,
Far from ready for
Do
it, nor
not
do we
want that.
want it.
No.
Yeah.
But we have. Sorry, I'm on your live. I'm not going to say what I was about to say. We have non-combat weenies.
that's a good. Okay, I'm very proud of the way that you phrased it.
We have non-combat weenies who are pushing us to get into more international conflicts. And from what I can tell, it is only to bolster their stock in Raytheon, BAE, Oscos, Daniel, like whatever. It is only to bolster the military-industrial complex.
That's it.
One of the worst ones, and he always has been, is Lindsey Graham.
Always pushing for war.
Always has been. I mean, he was there back in the weapons of mass destruction days. Like,
Yeah.
we can't get rid of this.
Yeah.
I do not know how. But he is pushing, constantly pushing for continue funding Ukraine, money. Fund Israel, money. Like, Iraq, money.
Yeah.
They're still pushing money to the Taliban. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the problem is we're supposed to go to all these places
Right.
and be in all of these wars when, if you look at recruitment for the military,
it's a business.
it is non-existent at this point. I
So
mean, so what do we say?
it's a business. So Lindsey Graham, it was just about a week or so ago, introduced a bill proposing that we actually engage in war with Iran based on the threat of nuclear weapons. So that bill was put forward, hasn't been voted on yet. But the fact that he had the gall to write it should be absolutely disgusting to every American out there, especially global war on terrorism veterans that just saw 20 years of our lives pissed away for essentially nothing.
Yeah.
But yet there he is. He is out there putting the bill forward. And one of the ways that guys like Lindsey Graham and this new guy Tim Walz hide behind is, I was a veteran. Shut up, Graham. You were not. Yes, you were technically a service veteran. You were a lieutenant colonel JAG, a judge advocate. Like, you never picked up a gun. You never went to war. You dealt with policy and throwing troops in jail.
Floyd.
Yeah. So shut up trying to send the rest of us to war. And then we have, I'm assuming that they're both closeted homosexuals at this point, but Tim Walz and Lindsey Graham. So Tim Walz, like, the military debauchery just gets worse and worse by the day. So Tim Walz spent 24 years in the National Guard, I believe, claimed to have retired as a command sergeant major, which is one of the highest ranks that you can achieve on the enlisted side of the military. However, that is not the case. He retired as a master sergeant, which is nothing to scoff at. However, when you put that on your record saying that I'm a retired command sergeant major and it's just on its face false, that's a big problem. And in addition to that, like, he did serve in the role of a command sergeant major briefly. And what we call that in the military is your thrust. So, like, you might be a rank below, but they need somebody to fill a position. So let's say, hey, you can wear this rank and fill this position but you're still, like, your pay grade, your rank and everything is technically whatever your pay grade is. It happens all the time. Somebody needs to fill a position of responsibility, so you'll get brought. And then if you are time and grade eligible, if you complete your education and training, you might promote into it. He did not do that. And furthermore, the reports that are coming out by the day of how this guy just, like,
up and left.
Yeah, they got the warning order that his unit was going to be going to Iraq in 2005, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't seen, and then dropped retirement papers.
Left his unit high and dry 2 months before.
Interviewed?
Yes, I did. Like, where her son was killed.
So left the unit high and dry, but then, so he has his retirement. I'm a command sergeant major. No, you're not. Where it gets really, really sleazy is his verbiage of him saying stuff like, I was a command sergeant major of a unit that deployed to Iraq. Technically, you were frocked as a command sergeant major at one point of a unit that did deploy, but you didn't go with them.
You did not go.
The amount that he has alluded to actually going to war, and I mean, he has alluded to it, but also flat out lied about it. And in his anti-2A stuff, like, nobody should have these weapons of war that I carried in war. What war? Like, what?
You didn't go anyway.
And what do you think is his point in doing, just to sway veterans?
It's an attempt to sway veterans, but he's a leftist, so most,
like, commander wise,
With most veterans, don't you feel like most veterans are secret?
Most veterans will, but most everyday voters,
they don't know
the sergeant major. It's completely pulling the wool over people's eyes who don't know what's going on anyways. And that's, it's disgusting to me. It's disgusting to almost all of them. She's getting lit up right now.
And continuing on his policy, he's made Minnesota a dumpster fire, just like Newsom did California. When he sits here and signs an executive order where illegal immigrants can get driver's license, and they cheered, it makes no sense to me. Where you can kill and have abortions at 9 months
Or after.
And we are okay with that. When you're sort of talking about policy,
there's record at least 8 failed abortions, meaning that they were attempted abortions that had live births.
And they just let them lay there.
And, they let
a baby
with no palliative care or anything.
Correct.
It's disgusting. It is. It's antichrist. It's demonic.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that he is. He is a spawn of Satan. This guy.
It is really scary.
The more you read about it, the more heartbreaking and disgusting his policies and.
Well, and the left wants to sit here and say the Republicans are going to take away your right, your reproductive. But in actuality, the left is the ones who want to take away our guns.
They want to be in control.
They want to take away
left alone.
They want to take away the lives of babies. They want to take away your right to vote, because at the rate that we're going, if we're handing out driver's licenses
and we're putting people in office that wasn't voted in,
then for sure you don't have to be a citizen by any means to vote.
No.
And it's just going to continue. They want to decide what goes in our bodies. Here we are. and we're the ones that are supposedly going to take away.
Yep. It is truly demonic what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just evil.
all of us, and our parents especially, like they were more informed during the Clinton era. Like
Right.
the Clinton era Democrat is dead and gone.
Yeah.
Like
There is.
at this point, we would all cheer, like, give us the Clintons.
Yeah. The original, like,
Give us Clinton with the saxophone any day.
yeah.
Because what's going on right now is just bonkers. But
Yeah.
like they don't care anymore because they've realized that they can rig elections, they can blatantly cheat and get away with it, and nothing will happen.
And we will just sit there and watch it.
Yeah, the mask is off, so they don't have to carry it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just kind of goes back to my point at the beginning. Like, did they pick Tim Walz because they just need somebody to make Kamala look less horrendous,
Right.
or do they just really like? Are they really that confident in their
Driving
position?
home.
Yeah, they're that confident that they're in their position that they can just be like, we are open about socialists.
Here we are.
Yep.
Like there is no curtain. I mean, yeah.
Either one is scary.
Either one's scary.
Right.
Either one.
I mean, since they introduced that book, though, the spotlight has been on Kamala a little bit.
Which she's not spoken, taken questions, interviewed in like, what are we at? 18, 19 days.
You can imagine her doing that.
I degrade for a debate.
For a debate. Podcast we was talking about when Tulsi.
Yeah.
Tulsi destroyed.
Her,
Yeah.
and I mean, Trump is better than Tulsi, so I'm just like, how is this gonna go?
It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine Vance against Walt?
It would be amazing.
It will.
The amount of nervous cackling that would come from Kamala the entire debate. would
Whenever
just be-
since the guy on Rogan said she's like a wine mom, and she if you did
Oh,
yes.
yes.
That
I
was
was like, that's all I see now. That's
Yeah.
all I see. It's
Yeah.
bizarre.
where's Biden? I mean,
Okay, so has he been?
I mean, he was on some news interview just a couple days ago where he said that there wouldn't be a peaceful transfer of power.
It was. He used to be.
Listen,
I'm not convinced of anything anymore. I'd have to see him in person and with a measuring stick to get height and everything.
Check his earlobes and everything.
All the things.
So-
I'm very confused.
So, I mean, he's been defunct for 4 years of his presidency, anyways.
Right. and I think that's why he hasn't been around. I think people are just like, well, it's out in the open now, so
Yeah. It's like
he's gone to
he's
the
back in Delaware at the beach.
Who's running our country?
well, the same people that always
I
run.
was no information in this.
For BlackRock.
Yes,
Excuse me.
yeah, the people
So-
benefiting from war. I mean,
So
like,
while Kamala will not do an interview, won't talk to reporters, won't go unscripted on camera, she is out doing the campaign stumping right now. And I don't know if you've watched any of it, but it is bizarre.
yeah.
So
So she's campaigning on, I'm going to reduce inflation, I'm going to reduce gas prices, I'm going to have more jobs, I'm going to introduce manufacturing.
Yeah.
Like, but
she's already.
she's already in office. Like, she's literally campaigning against herself. And it is,
Yeah.
it is wild.
And they're good. They're cheering you.
Well, as long as they get to see booty clapping, it's more cheer.
That was scary.
So,
I think that's where I get so baffled, mind blown, even just flat out upset. To be honest, I talk about this to Ryan basically every day. He's like, Caroline, I can't give you an answer. Because I'm like, okay, she has been in office for 3.5 years. Everything is clear as what the numbers were 4 years ago versus what they are now. Why is that not done? Why are we not done at that point? We don't need any more campaigns. We don't need any more ads. Why can we not just put these numbers against these numbers and you read them and then you go vote?
right?
I'm
Gas was $1.67 when I moved to Tennessee.
100%.
Yeah. And so again, I guess that's the only answer I have is what my dad says. Common sense is not common, and that's what they bang on.
So,
Well, biology.
what is biology?
What is?
Well, they don't,
Ass-
but now they do.
Assuming that the worst happens and that Harris Waltz are implanted into the White House and our local party, state party stays asleep and taking outside influence and the blue creep keeps coming, what can any of us do to prepare our families for the potentially rougher and more economically tough times coming.
Besides praying that Jesus just goes ahead and comes.
Yeah, we can.
Can we just go ahead and, because listen, we all know this, right? Anyways, like as hard of a pill as that would be to swallow, like my entire belief and all of the things does not rest in Trump or whoever is in office. That is, let's just throw that out there and be very clear.
For sure.
Like, we know Jesus is in control. He's got it. Do I sometimes like where this is going? No.
What are you doing, Jesus?
Come on. There and be like, we know, like, why we had to do this.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, why don't you start? Like the stock market's crashing, and what are we doing?
Bullets. Buy bullets.
Stock up.
Buy lots and lots of bullets.
Food prep. We always do lots. We try to always
Yeah.
stay ahead, but
Same.
we've gotten behind a little bit because
Yeah.
Well, we always say that if
really
anything
is.
happens, like my parent is where we will go.
well,
Like,
we've had this conversation.
we have this all the time. Like that is camp. That is where we are set up, and you don't get to come unless you bring
Right.
something to the table.
Yep.
Like truly,
Absolutely.
I mean, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Like
I think you have to
You-
find those like-minded people, and you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And I think we have to really focus on our kids because they're going after our kids.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah.
Well,
And the colleges, like,
I honestly at this point don't want my kids to go to college.
oh no.
And can you believe that?
Hey,
Say
barring an athletic scholarship, so
Right.
that my son can go
Right.
through his athletic career.
Yeah.
Why would I?
Can you believe that we're even saying this after when I was in high school? That was my only option.
Yeah.
You go to college. You go to college. Like that was all that the next step was told to me was,
Yeah.
hey, you can't get a good job unless you go to college. Well, that's baloney.
Turns out Biden's going to get
Yeah.
elected and you can't get a good job. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, preparation, I think is hugely important. Food storage, yes. Water storage, yes.
Keeping cash
Cash.
in hand.
So I always advocate for bullets over gold. I mean, everyone's historically it's been like gold, keep gold, keep gold.
Sure.
But I think with the trajectory that we're on, I'm not saying that it shouldn't have gold on hand.
Yeah.
It's good to have something to barter.
Yeah.
But with the trajectory that we're on, I think that we're going to see something kinetic within our lifetime. With the way that they're going after the 2A, like, bullets are going to be worth their
To
weight.
me, it's like bullets, alcohol, and medicine. That's
Yeah,
what
but
we
you don't drink.
I don't drink, but that's a good trading.
That's a really good trade. I would make that trade.
That's
I would make that trade.
a great trade. If I want to drink,
That's true.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah. So I mean,
I think always like educating yourself on like how to grow your own
I have
food.
books and all that. And I'm like, this internet could crash any day, and I'm
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
how to do this.
Yeah.
yeah, Jen's downloaded and printed like
Same.
Guys,
Same.
like it's very smart. And listen,
Medical books.
per se are gonna be like nuclear bombed on next week.
But you'll never be like trashed for being prepared.
Correct.
But
But you know,
yes.
who are the people gonna come to?
Yeah, the prepared one.
Yes.
People are always like, "This is kind of silly." I'm like, "Well, I'm happy to be silly."
Yeah. I think one of the things with preparation is you actually have to be doing it. So
Right.
gardening, chickens, like small livestock,
Yeah.
stuff that you can have in a neighborhood. Like
Correct. Yeah.
it's not, oh, next year I'll get the garden going. Get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always like
It's
double
August.
the meal.
It's August right now, but get it going.
Yeah.
Get something
We
started.
totally can do that.
Uh,
We always double a meal. And so like if I'm
always
cooking, I just like stick one in the deep freeze
Right.
and like have, you know,
When we do our own cows,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
freezer's always stocked
Yeah.
with meat. So
those
things.
so yeah, I mean, preparation is going to be huge because it's,
We have chickens.
in addition to who knows what they're going to do, but stuff's going to continue to get more expensive. So
Yeah.
when you can stock the deep freezer, I mean,
Correct.
do it. But I think praying is probably the best.
100%.
Lots of praying
So
for sure.
And you can't let it consume you. Sometimes this just consumes where it's like,
Yeah.
you just can't.
and that's how you end up
It's
with
hard to.
that's how you end up with crappy podcasts and coffee warehouses.
So good. So good.
That's about all I have for ranting and raving this morning.
Love it.
I hope it all gets better. I think it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
But
I think the next like 80-ish or so days are going to be a
Gotta-
little wild.
Yeah.
Got to vote.
So make sure you're ready to vote in November. Actually know who you're voting
You're
for.
registered.
Make sure you're
You can't
registered.
register the day before.
That's it. What October? Do we know the cutoff? I think it's October 7th.
It's right that first week.
I think
Yeah.
well, for us, I think it's like tn.elections.gov. We'll have all the local
Yeah.
information on it.
If you're
Yeah.
local, Young Republican meeting.
Yep. So if you're local to
Yeah.
East Tennessee, you can come visit the three of us at the Young Republican meeting,
Yeah.
August 26th,
That's it.
Fourth Monday.
fourth Monday of the month.
30.
And it's Granger, Jefferson, and Hamlin County.
Yeah.
And if you're
Well,
from outside of there, you're still
You
welcome.
can still come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vote, pray, take care of your families. Tune into the Boldly Patriotic podcast. That's all I got for this today.
That was a good,
Unless you
good
guys-
one today.
All right.
We're having it.
Well, thank you very much. Check out frontiercoffee.com. Use discount code Boldly Patriotic for discount on your next order. Thank you all very much.
Hi, guys.
Stuff. Okay. Make sure it says yes. Post for
Oh, wait. Okay. No.
Right.
Yeah, now switch it. Yeah, look at you.
Right.
Delete.
Just text button.
I know we never figured that out either. Share. Get it?